Welcome back to another episode on Anxiety Doesn't Own Me podcast. My name is Emmanuel Isaacson, and I'm an anxiety coach who helps people to overcome and heal their anxiety naturally. On today's episode, what I'm going to be talking about is how to properly control your anxiety. And this is very important, guys, because we want to know how to control it the right way. Because most of us, whenever we're controlling our anxiety, what's happening is that we are thinking that I should control it in a certain way, but that certain way is actually what's causing you to have more anxiety. Because whenever a lot of us, and this is including me, that whenever I was trying to control my anxiety, I wasn't doing it the right way. I wasn't doing it in the healthy way, because whenever I would try to control my anxiety, the reason why I wanted to control my anxiety, and that's something you need to ask yourself, was because I no longer wanted to experience anxiety anymore, because I didn't want to have a panic attack. I didn't want to have the physical sensations that I was experiencing, the physical symptoms. I didn't want to have that. I didn't want to have the thoughts or anything like that. And what I would do is that I would try to control it by trying to fight it off, by trying to ignore it, by trying to say to myself, like, stop thinking this way, this is wrong, I don't want to feel this way anymore, let me try to do certain things that's going to, take away the physical sensations. But what I have come to realize is that, guys, whenever we're trying to do that, that's going to increase our anxiety because of the following reasons. Because whenever we are trying to control our anxiety, we are basically telling to our amygdala that, hey, what we're thinking about, what we're feeling is wrong. It's dangerous. That activates the fight and fight mode. That's in the signal to the sympathetic nervous system, which activates the fight and fight mode. Now, what happens is that we increase our anxiety by ourselves by doing that. Subconsciously, we're not even conscious about it. Unconsciously, we're doing that. We are literally activating our fight and fight mode because we're telling, hey, I don't want to experience a panic attack. So I'm going to try to control as much as I can by avoiding that certain place, by trying to saying, I don't want to feel this. However you do it, however you try to control your issue, that's literally increasing your anxiety. Now, another reason why is that because you're putting a lot more pressure on your body. You're putting a lot more pressure on your mind. And that is something that's affecting your anxiety, your stress, your worry, your pressure. So whenever you are worried about having a panic attack, whenever you're worried about being dizzy or experiencing a certain physical symptom or having a certain thought, you are putting more pressure on yourself. You're creating more anxiety that way. So what we need to do, and I know a lot of us are going to feel pressured not to feel pressured, is that we have to learn how to properly control our anxiety. And the way we think and the way we are used to from our past is going to be completely different than what I'm about to teach you. Because what we're used to in the past is by fighting, is by ignoring, is by avoiding. Those are the ways that we used to do it. And we used to do it in a very unhealthy way. But that's all we knew. That's all we were taught. That's all we were programmed with. So we're used to that. And we may feel a little bit uncomfortable doing what I'm about to tell you because it's out of the norm. It's not something that we're used to doing. It's not something that we are just used to. And this is going to take some time to get into the habit of doing. And what we have to do in order to control our anxiety is to let go of the control. We need to let go of the control, because whenever we are trying to control our anxiety, we're not really controlling it. We have this illusion that we are controlling it, this illusion of control, but the reality is that our anxiety is in control. But whenever we let go of the control, whenever we you know what? I am not going to control this anymore. I'm just going to let it be. Whatever happens, happens. And that's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do because you're literally letting go of the illusion of you being in control. And that's something you need. That's something that you want. You don't want to be out of control. You don't want to not be in control. But I'm telling you again, whenever you try to do that, You are not in control over there. You have to let go of the control, because whenever you let go of the control, you're not putting any more pressure on yourself, which we said before. Pressure creates more anxiety. You are no longer worried. You are no longer stressed out, because those things create more anxiety. You are no longer telling to your amygdala, hey, that situation is dangerous. Experiencing this is dangerous. We should not feel this. We should not go through this. Let's avoid it. So you're automatically, what you're doing is reprogramming the amygdala, like, hey, everything's fine over here. It doesn't activate the fight and fight mode. Now, I know that's going to be a little scary to do. It's a scary thing to do. It is just to say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to let go, because we're so used to being controlled by everything. We're so used to doing that. I know a lot of people with anxiety, we have that hardship in letting go. It's just a hard thing for us because we're afraid that we may lose it. And I understand where you're coming from, but the more you try to control, the more you are going to create more anxiety. Now, another way for you to let go of control is by focusing on what you can control. There are certain things in our lives that we can control. Now, what I mean by that is, let's say if we're having a physical symptom of dizziness, right? We can't stop the physical symptom from anxiety of experiencing dizziness. We cannot stop that. But what we can control is how do we look? How do we look at the dizziness? That's what we can control. We can control that because we are basically changing our perspective of how we are seeing the dizziness. Because a lot of us, we may experience the dizziness as something bad, as we have certain health issues or something like that. But we could, or that we may faint, but we can change that narrative. One of the ways that I remember one time that I was flying from Orlando to New York, and the turbulence was bad the entire time. It was pretty heavy that they had to cancel the food service. And I remember whenever we were flying, I was with my sister and her kids, and I remember looking at my sister, I'm like, this is the last ride for Disney World. It's like Disney World. We went through so many roller coasters and so many rides. This is just another ride, and because I knew, I already spoke to a pilot about it, that turbulence can never take down a plane. So I wasn't really worried or anything like that, but I wanted to spin it more in a positive way because I saw my sister and my niece and nephew, they were really nervous. So I tried to spin it more in a positive way. And I say, listen, I can't control the pain. I can't control what's happening. What I could control is how I look at the situation. So I changed the situation more from a negative, more to a positive. So we want to do that. We want to change the negative thoughts that we're having about feeling dizzy from more of a negative to more of a positive one, because that will help us to calm down tremendously with our anxiety. Because again, our anxiety, it gets much stronger whenever we are thinking more negatively. You understand? So we want to do that. Another way that we can control the anxiety is accept the uncertainty, because sometimes we don't know what's going to happen. We right away think that something bad is going to happen, right? Let's say we're going somewhere, and that place creates our anxiety. It triggers our anxiety, but just because it happened in the past doesn't mean it's going to happen in the future. So we don't know what's going to happen. We are predicting what's going to happen. We are predicting it so we can change that, you see? For more of a negative one of like, I'm going to experience a panic attack, I'm going to look ridiculous, I'm going to embarrass myself, to more of like, you know what? This right now where I'm going to is where I'm going to overcome my anxiety. Wherever I am going to conquer my panic attacks, where I'm going to stop having a panic attack. That's where it's going to be. And I'm going to come out victorious. That's what's going to happen. So I'm changing the future experiences, the future things that's going to happen to more of a positive way, to more in a way of empowerment, to empower myself in order for me to be in control, in order for me to predict what's going to happen instead of my anxiety. Because we're always listening to our anxiety. Our anxiety is always telling us, oh, don't do this or avoid that and avoid this and don't do this because it's trying to protect us. But like, wait. No. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. And what's going to happen is that we are going to be victorious, and I'm going to overcome this panic attacks, and I'm going to overcome this thing, and I'm going to be back to the person that I once was. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to predict it, and I'm going to have a great time over there, and I'm going to laugh, and I'm going to have a blast over there. It's going to be a night to remember. That's what we want to tell ourselves. That's going to give us more empowerment, and that's going to help us to control better our anxiety. Now, another crucial thing, the last thing that you want to do is understand anxiety, guys. I always say this, the number one thing you want to do is understand how anxiety works. If you understand how something works, you can control it. If you don't understand it, you can't control it. It's impossible. So the more you understand of how anxiety works, the stronger and better control you will have over the anxiety. You will actually be in control at the end of the day. Because you understand how it works, because you understand how it tricks you, because you understand like, hey, what I'm experiencing right now, this dizziness, it's from my anxiety. It's not from something else. It's not from a health issue. It's from my anxiety because that's one of the symptoms. Or why I'm having these heart palpitations, not because something wrong with my heart, it's because of my anxiety. So we understand why we have certain things. We understand how the anxiety is tricking us into believing us and to make us believe that, hey, something bad is going to happen because it's trying to protect us. That's its job. So we can tell ourselves, hey, anxiety, you don't need to protect me. I'm fine over here. I don't need your protection anymore. I can protect myself. Thank you very much. So the more we understand anxiety and how it works, the more we are going to be able to control our anxiety. So guys, try to practice these three things. And I know some of them are hard to do. Take it one step at a time. I would recommend start with the last thing that I talked about. It's understanding anxiety and work from there to be able to control your anxiety and to be able to one day overcome this thing and to get back to the person that you once was. If you did like this episode, please click the like button and leave a 5-star review. The reason why I ask is because this way we're able to reach more people. And the more people that we can actually reach, the more people that we can actually help. Because my mission in this world, my purpose is to help people to overcome and heal their anxiety naturally and show them that it's possible to overcome. Thank you guys. Take care. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.